Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Buffalo Bills versus New England Patriots pregame report. Coming to you a little early this week. I mean, with Christmas going on Saturday and all kinds of family things going on the weekend, Jake and I thought it best be bringing it to you tonight. So I'm Mike Thornton. Joining me is my good friend over here, Jake Podger. Jake, how you doing, man?
Mike, I'm fired up. It's been a fun-filled week. I was just telling you a little bit. I mean, today has been an absolute blast. We had our office Christmas party earlier on.
Nice.
Shout out to Cindy if you're watching. Freaking love you guys. You and Frank, phenomenal people. I was just at my in-laws' house. We were having a good time there. Shout out to those guys, Zach, Randall, uh, Christina, Colin, Dana. You guys are phenomenal. Patty Eags, what a guy. I mean, absolute studs, every single last one of those people. Also, by the way, for you guys, I brought out this little bottle tonight, so I will pour a little bit. Just
All
going to have a
right,
little
all right.
sipper, nothing crazy. It is the holiday season, little old elk, why not? So this is my eggnog for tonight, so we'll go with that. But yeah, phenomenal time, Mike. We're fired up. We're ready to go. It's a little early this week, yes, for sure, but we got football on tonight, little Niners and Titans action.
Yeah. So we'll have you give some updates on that game as we go along. I mean, it doesn't get any bigger than this week. This is, I mean, I wish it wasn't coming down to this, but it is coming down to this for the
I know.
division. I mean, for a chance at the division, whoever wins this game is going to take the lead in the division, and then they have to win out to actually take it. So exciting, exciting. Before we get into the details of the show, a little admin stuff. If you're new to the channel and you haven't hit that subscribe button, drop a nickel on that subscribe button. Give us a like, give us a share, and we'd love your interaction. So if you're live on the channel, please feel free to put some comments out there today. And if you don't see it live, put some comments in afterwards. We always respond to the comments, so we love that. I got a hold of Alfonso, who won the gift card. He was
Nice.
super appreciative. That card went out today, and he'll be getting it Tuesday. So it was a little delayed in getting a hold of him, but Alfonso, congratulations. He was super excited to get it. And then we had a winner last week on the pregame
The gift
show,
card?
the gift card. So your buddy Kyle won it, right?
He did. It was interesting. I don't think he really expected to win anything. He just kind of put a score out
Yeah.
there, and next thing you know, it's like, hey, he's the winner. So he had to reactivate his Venmo because
Yeah.
he lives out of country, believe it or don't. But
Yeah.
he's back home for the week, so for Christmas. But it's pretty cool. He was excited about it, that's for sure. Like I said, he really wasn't expecting to win anything, so pretty
Yeah,
cool.
well, maybe you didn't hear us say that, but it was close. I mean, we had about three people that were within 4 points of the final score. He hit the Bills number right on the number at 31, and
Hmm.
he wasn't over on any of the scores, so he was the winner. It was tough. There's a couple folks that were also 4 points away, but they were kind of over on the score, so I had to give it to Kyle. So congratulations
Yeah.
to him as well. So before we get, let's see who we got on the channel. We got Big Al. Good to see you, Al. Happy holidays to you. Merry Christmas. Same with you, Slinky. Always good to see you. And Timmy Corcor.
That's my buddy Tim, Mike.
Tim.
He's saying Jordan flu game for Jake. Like I said, Mike, it was a hell of a day. We had our office Christmas party earlier, so had a few drinks and we're having fun. It's a great time.
Yeah, that's good stuff. So before we get into the details of the show, let's talk a little bit about these Pro Bowl snubbing that I see going all over
Yeah.
Instagram, all over social media. Talk to me a little bit about that, because two big names that come to mind that I've seen snubbed are Josh Allen and Poyer. So
Right.
talk to me a little bit about that.
Yeah, it's a little frustrating. I mean, you expected Josh Allen to be you know, obviously an AFC Pro Bowl quarterback, whether he was a starter or not, and he wasn't even on the list. You look at the guys who got voted in. We have Justin Herbert, Pat Mahomes, and then Lamar Jackson. Josh, in my opinion, probably should be over Lamar. I think Lamar is good. Obviously, he's done a lot for his team, but out of those three, I mean, you got to throw Josh in the mix at least somewhere in there. I understand why he's probably not a starter. I mean, Justin Herbert's put up insane numbers. He has a little bit better weapons too, obviously, but I think at the same time, I mean, you got to look at the AFC itself. I mean, the Ravens right now, they're 8-6. The Bills are also 8-6. I know Josh has been a big part of obviously the Bills winning games. I think Lamar does a lot for the Ravens. He doesn't have a whole lot to work with. Maybe they're kind of looking at the whole piece itself because Ravens are down three corners right now. Marlon Humphrey's out for the year. You have Marcus Peters out for the year. Their entire defense, I mean, it's all banged up. So
Yeah.
really, it's their offense that they have to rely on so much. So it was pretty interesting to see those come out. I mean, Lamar obviously deserving of it, but I think Josh should have probably gotten the nod over him. So kind of a snub there. He is still technically an alternate, so he does have that to go back to. And there's a lot of alternates with the Bills right now. Reed Ferguson's one of them. I mentioned Reed because I'm a big Reed Ferguson guy. Jordan Poyer, Micah Hyde, they both are alternates. That's good at least. I thought Jordan Poyer definitely was more snubbed than other Bills as well.
Yeah.
You have Kevin Byard who made it, who I think Kevin Byard, he's done a fantastic job this year. He's had a really nice year, but it's so tough with Pro Bowl stuff too. It's like if you factor in fan voting, you factor in coaching, and I think there's three different parts of that. There's fan voting, coach voting, and then player voting. So you kind of let that just run its course pretty much. But it is interesting because usually at the end of the year, you have so many guys opt out of the Pro Bowl that all these alternates are going to end up making it anyways. So that's kind of how it is nowadays.
Do you get considered to be a Pro Bowler if you're an alternate? So can you say Josh Allen, 3-time Pro Bowler, or no? Or do you have to be a
not until he's officially selected? So yeah,
okay.
Unless he actually gets on that roster somehow, then he won't be, on that list.
It's been such a long time since I even watched a Pro Bowl, but when do they play it these days?
So it's the week before the Super Bowl. I think it was a big mistake. Obviously, they wanted to keep it relevant. They didn't want that 2-week gap in between the AFC/NFC championship and the Super Bowl. So they figured, let's throw the Pro Bowl in between, and we'll go from there. It used to be after the Super Bowl, and it was a lot more competitive, believe it or not. You go back to the days, even like 2006, when Sean Taylor was in the league. Rest in peace, Sean Taylor. Had that huge hit on Brian Moorman. I mean, these guys used to play like with some energy and stuff, but now it's like there's so much money being thrown around that these guys don't really want to take a risk. They don't want to get injured. They kind of let up. You even see the offensive line play is not like as aggressive as it used to be. But it is interesting because I feel like back in the day, you look at even like the 90s, early 2000s, there wasn't a ton of injuries or anything like that in the Pro Bowl. And it was because these guys could play fast. Now, there was always those big hits like the Brian Moorman, Sean Taylor hit, which, that could have been devastating for us because Brian Moorman at the time was our best player on the team pretty much, So it is interesting to see now. It's like these guys don't really want to go to the Pro Bowl, and it's kind of looked down upon pretty much. It's not really a thing. I mean, if you go way back, Jack Youngblood, Mike, I don't know if you know who Jack Youngblood is.
Of course, for the Rams.
Absolute stud. Yes.
Oh.
Yeah. Played with a broken leg throughout the entire postseason and into the Pro Bowl. I mean, that you want to talk about an Iron Man. I mean, that's next level right there. So, that just doesn't happen. You'll never see that happen again, obviously. I mean, those guys were playing for peanuts. They had second jobs and whatnot. It's different times right now. But
the only thing
I'm going to go on a whole nother tangent if you keep me talking about the Pro Bowl.
I mean, on the positive side, somebody might know something, Jake. Somebody might know something that might know that Josh is preparing for a Super Bowl, and then we're not going to even put him on the first ballot. So maybe they're realizing he's going to be busy that week getting prepared for something else, and he's probably not going to be able to participate anyway. On the Lamar Jackson, all of you who watch the channel know that that's my son's favorite player, and all I can say is because I have had to watch a lot of Raven football this year, whenever the Bills aren't playing, that he's done a lot with a lot less than Josh has.
Yeah.
They lost their I mean, you mentioned all the injuries on defense. They lost their 2 starting running backs before the season even started. So, I mean, just amazing to me that they are even competing for a playoff spot this year. And a lot of that's to coaching, although you can question their coaching recently. 2 games back-to-back going for 2-pointers instead of trying to tie it.
I love that, honestly. I mean, it's a gutsy call, and I know you take the loss, but it's like he owned it. He owned it at the press conference. He felt like he was in position to win the game. You go ahead, you win the game. You look like a hero. If not, I mean, obviously you're in this position now. But I thought they were both. I mean, gutsy calls for sure, but that's what John Harbaugh is known to do. So
yeah.
I kind of love it.
Yeah, I mean,
I wish our coach would take some notes, honestly.
Yeah, I mean, if it worked out, he's a genius. But now that it's been back-to-back games, you question it a little bit. But most folks that I've talked to like the call. There's my dad out there saying weak excuse for Josh Allen. There's no real excuse for Josh. I mean, I'm just saying, just playing, having a little fun there. But the really only excuse to me, if for whatever reason, maybe he's had the ball a few times to win a game and hasn't come through. It's the only thing I could knock against Josh. So don't know what you think, Jake.
I'm looking. Sorry, Mike. I missed what you're saying. I'm just looking at
Oh,
what the
no
comments are
worries.
saying here. Go ahead.
No,
Say that again.
I
Sorry.
was just saying. My dad's saying that was a weak excuse. I don't know if he's referring to me saying that. Maybe
I
they
think he's saying
realize.
it's a weak. Yeah, he's saying it's a weak excuse for Josh Allen. I'm thinking he's meaning like the missed Pro Bowl nod. I mean, it just doesn't make sense why he's not on that ballot. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, he was leading the league in fan voting. I know
Mhm.
at a certain point, and then all of a sudden he's just not even on the team. So you expected them to be on that roster, and now he's just not. So I don't understand it.
Let's see here. Big L saying the Pro Bowl vote may have really made the whole Bills team play with a lot more
Yeah,
grit and power to prove to the whole league that they are for
I don't
real.
know.
So it might light a fire in them. I don't know. I don't know how those guys take it. I know Poyer takes it pretty personally. I've seen him. I even think during this season where he's made, on the fields like stop ignoring me or whatever. I think he was talking about Pro Bowl,
Yeah.
not being put on that. So it might. I don't know what the other guys think. To me, like you said, it's not really meaningful these days. I'd be like, I don't want to go to that thing. But it does sound good for your career. Hey, Josh Allen, 10-time Pro Bowler, right? That just looks good in the historical records for sure.
Well, the thing is too with that, like there's usually a contract incentive. So if you make the Pro Bowl, then it looks good on your resume. On top of that, you get a little extra pay. So
Hmm.
a lot of times guys, they get a little pissed off because it's like if you don't make the Pro Bowl, then you're losing out on some potential money. So there is that too.
Tim's saying Pro Bowl is based off fan vote. I think you said there was a few other folks, right?
Yeah, it's fan voting, coaching, and then so fan voting, coaches, and then I think the players too. So it's three things that go into it.
Okay, so not just fan voting. Because
Right.
I gotta believe the Buffalo folks, the Bills Mafia,
Oh,
they're
they lit it
voting
up. Yeah.
constantly. So it is,
Well, that's what I was saying. Josh was leading, I think,
yeah,
everyone, all positions, like in votes. So yeah.
crazy, crazy. So anyhow, big game this week. I think we're ready to get into it. Let's go. Let's talk about the injury report because there's some big things going on the injury side. On the Buffalo Bills, Jerry Hughes, he's questionable. Micah Hyde, again, it's early, folks. So,
Yeah.
I think they just practiced on Wednesday and Thursday. I don't have updates. This is the latest that I had as of today. Jerry Hughes, Micah Hyde is questionable. I expect them to play. Epinesa, he is out, COVID-19. Feliciano, COVID-19. Taiwan Jones is questionable again. Manuel Sanders is questionable. I think he's going to play.
Yeah, it looks like I
Yeah,
just got an update that said he was going to be active. So that
yeah.
is
So that's
a good
good.
thing, at
That is
least.
very
Yeah.
good. So Deion Dawkins, COVID-19. Now, did you tell me that did Deion Dawkins make the Pro Bowl?
He did.
What?
Yeah. Speaking of Pro Bowl votes,
Okay, what the heck is going on here? I mean,
I don't know. I
tell
don't
me
know if
how
they're
that
watching the
happens.
same. Yeah, I'm not really sure. I mean, it kind of like, I don't know. It kind of like diminishes the value of Pro Bowl voting when you see a guy like that get. I mean, I hate throwing shade on Deion Dawkins, but it just
Yeah,
has not been his year. And I think of all years, I mean, really, last year was probably his best year. This year has been an absolute. I mean, it's been a really big disappointment, if anything, for him. He signed that big contract, and it just seems like I don't know. I'm not sure if tackle's his position. Maybe they got to kick him inside. Maybe they move him to right tackle. I'm not really sure. Yeah, the Pro Bowl vote for him and him actually making the squad like that is like kind of a head scratcher, to be honest.
it's definitely surprising with all the struggles we've had this year. But hey,
Yeah.
I'm happy for him. Any bill that makes it, I'm happy for him. But
Yeah, you gotta love it
it
for
is a
sure.
little strange when you consider how
Yeah.
bad
Of
we've
of
looked.
everyone, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then we have Mr. Cole Beasley also on COVID. Big loss there.
Yeah.
We might be without him for not only this game but next week's game as well.
They were saying 10 days. Yeah.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah.
Yep.
So most likely probably missed two, but big. We're gonna miss him. This is a huge game, and to be without Cole is going to be difficult. But Gabe Davis stepped up last week. I expect him to step up again, and of course with Sanders coming back, that'll be very helpful as well. So I could see the three of them starting out there.
And Isaiah McKenzie too. Don't forget.
Isaiah for sure.
It's
So,
time.
yep. Then over on the New England Patriots side, Kendrick Bourne is on the COVID list, but I am hearing that he has had no symptoms. It sounds like he is vaccinated, and if he can pass the 2 negative test, 24 hours before the game, they feel he might be activated for this game. So that's a big one right there to watch. Because he is one of their big time receivers there. And I think without him, that'll be a huge impact on this game. Nelson Aguilar is questionable. Everyone else is questionable. So Nelson Aguilar, Ramondre Stevenson, Damian Harris, Keneal Harry, Matthew Slater, Adrian Phillips, Nick Folk, David Andrews, Christian Barmore, and Brandon Bolden are all questionable.
And Bill, I mean, he likes to put those guys, So this is a typical tactic that the Patriots use. They like to put a lot of guys on the injury report that are not necessarily, it looks like they're maybe on the bubble of playing, but they're going to play. Bill loves to do this. It's basically a troll move, which is great. I love it. You got to respect it. But
so anyone questionable on that side, I expect them to play fully. So we got Sean out there from Red, White, and Bills. Good to see you, Sean, and happy holidays to you too, man. We had a lot of fun with Sean last pregame with the Panthers. That was a great time.
Sean, you were close too, man. That was really close on the score.
I thought he had won. I mean, and then
it was this close. It really was. I mean,
hell
of a job, man. Coming in as a guest, on the show and just predicting the score that close. I mean, hats off, man, for sure.
And then we got Tim saying Emmanuel in the slot. What do you think they do? Do you think because Gabe can play slot too? So. What do you think? Gabe in the slot or Sanders in the slot? What do you guys think?
I'm thinking Emmanuel's probably going to be on the outside. Gabe will probably be in the slot. That's typically what they've been running when Emmanuel was in the game. So that's my initial thought. I would like to put them. I mean, I would like to see them switch it up, put Gabe outside. Mix and match a little bit. Depending on the type of personnel that we have out there. Because I think Gabe is a legitimate number 2 receiver. We just got to give him the opportunity, and I thought it was heading that way. Obviously, he's sort of showcased what he can do over the past 2 weeks, and we just got to keep him involved in the offense. So, yeah,
I agree. And Sean likes Sanders in the slot.
Love it.
So good stuff there. So let's get into where you got some predictions coming in. Yeah, get those predictions.
Yeah, I see that.
This week we're gonna have to hit it on the head to get that $50 gift card, but give it a shot. Get those predictions coming in the channel there. There's a couple people. I actually thought I was going to nail it. It was 24-14. You actually texted me. You're like, Mike, what score did you predict?
What was that score again?
24-14. But just as I answered him, they did that 4th down play and threw it to Gabe Davis to get to the 31. So pretty good stuff. All right, let's talk about somebody asked early on about the weather report. So weather, 40 degrees at kickoff, perfect football weather. A chance of rain or snow before 1 o'clock, and then mostly sunny during the game and winds just 8 miles per hour. So definitely much different than what we saw 2-3 weeks ago. Actually, 3 weeks ago when we played home against the Patriots. So no excuses from a weather standpoint unless something changes drastically, which it could. I mean, the weather changes like crazy, especially over there in Foxborough, just like Buffalo. But right now, things are looking good. So any concerns about this weather? This is what we want, right, Jake?
It's so interesting because this entire week I've been listening to WGR on our local AM station. And, there's been so many callers calling in and just saying, oh, we're so happy. It's going to be a neutral weather game. It's going to be so much different than the last game. We can finally see what both quarterbacks can do and showcase their talents. We're going to see that Josh Allen is the better quarterback. We're the better offense, et cetera, et cetera. I think when it comes down to it, obviously it's definitely more of an advantage for us because we can throw the ball a little bit better, but we were throwing the ball well in that win too. Don't forget about that. And it's not like we've really had a running game at all this entire season. I mean, last week we sort of found it a little bit, and that's great and all, but please, I am begging, if hopefully our guy Brian Label's watching the show, please don't run the football. Don't try to force it that much. I mean, let Josh just throw the football. Let's get our receivers some catches. Gabe Davis, he showcased what he can do over the last 2 weeks. He looks phenomenal. I think he's going to be a big piece this week. I think Isaiah McKenzie could be a very big piece of the offense as well, with Cole Beasley being out. So Yeah, I mean, yes, the weather, it's going to be better and whatnot. And it's wild because you're hearing all these pro roofers, all the people that are wanting a dome for the stadium, come out of the woodwork right now, of course, because, the last game against New England, it's like 50-mile-per-hour gusts and whatnot. So it's been a fun week. That's for sure, Mike. It's definitely been fun.
I'd like to ask the channel, okay, when we build the new stadium, does it need to be open or retractable roof? I want to hear your opinions. Please put that out there.
Yeah, I want to hear it too. And it's interesting too. I was talking to a couple buddies of mine. Actually, Tim is one of them. Tim was the one who asked this question about the weather. And he was talking about, if we do like a retractable roof or even like a stadium like Seattle has, where there's like an overhang so it kind of can keep the fans warm. Now, that might actually create a wind tunnel, which could ultimately be even worse if you think about it, because you have this like overhang and then in the middle, it's just like a hurricane. So, but one thing I will say about Seattle, and my cousin mentioned this actually in one of his shows this week, he mentioned that the acoustics in Seattle Stadium are really cool because they have like that overhang. And, when you pack 80,000 people into the stands like that, the way it kind of reverberates off the walls and off the ceiling a little bit, it just sounds really cool. So there is that. And that's probably why, Seattle's home of the 12th man. So they have that home field advantage with crowd noise. So there is that. But I feel like if you're going to do that, just finish it. I think you either go dome or you just leave it the way it is. It's one or the other.
So Tim's saying you agreed with him on dome yesterday, and the channel's coming in strong.
I didn't agree.
Retractable.
Yeah, I didn't agree with the dome, Tim. Now, I understood where you're coming from because obviously you want to see a neutral weather game. It's better from, I guess, you have two quarterbacks, neutral weather, there's nothing involved. It's better to evaluate those players. But at the same time, the weather is what makes sports fun. Like the randomness of the weather, I think that's what makes sports fun. Like when I'm watching NFL films, I don't look forward to seeing like the dome games, seeing like the Vikings play whoever, the Cowboys or whatever. Like that's no fun to me. I like seeing the games. You look at the Eagles and Lions game from 10 years ago or whatever, when it was an absolute whiteout blizzard. I mean, that was fun. You have Megatron, his entire face mask just loaded with snow chunks. Like that's fun. That's different. It's cool as a fan. And you know what? Ultimate respect. It weeds out the fans that aren't true fans because they will not go and watch a game in crappy weather. So that's my point right there.
I'm on the fence, Jake. So early on when I first started the channel, I did a show on the stadium and what I thought. And when I did that show, I said, no way we do retractable. Now, I'm a little older. Back in the day, I could take on that cold weather. If I go to a game, I'm not sure. I mean, I got lucky when I went to the Dolphin game. It was actually kind of decent. Mm-hmm. I'm also thinking about, the way we've built the team. Now, if you're going to have that type of open stadium, you're going to have to change your team up a little bit and have not just a air it out type of team. You're going to have a run game. So I'm on the fence, Jake, with that. I initially said no retractable roof. I'm rethinking that as the season progresses. And just me as a fan, like, what would I enjoy more? I do like the fact that we're going to see, I like the fact that there's no weather playing a role. We're going to see the best of the best. There's nothing.
That's fair.
Right? We can't say, well, it was the weather that we lost because the reason why we lost. No, it's going to be, that excuse is out the door. So, I don't know. I'm kind of on the fence, but the channel's coming in strong with the retractable roof. So, I don't know.
This is great. Yeah, we did talk about this too. So Tim mentions this about the investment because you have the stadium right now, it's outdoors, it's exposed to all the elements. I mean, the amount of, maintenance you're going to have to do to that stadium is going to be a lot more because, you just naturally over time, you have all the snow, the rain, the sun, whatever it may be, the Buffalo climate as it is. I mean, that's going to take a toll on the structure of the stadium, et cetera. With a dome, I guess you don't really have to worry about that as much. I mean, maybe more so the roof, but I guess overall, there's probably, Tim does make a good point in saying that maybe the investment might be better money-wise as a businessman. Obviously, you can host more events in that stadium too, but I don't know. For me, I'm a football purist. I think football is meant to be played in the elements, and I know a lot of people probably hate that I'm saying that. But I don't know, Mike. Like, I like playing in the elements. My brother says no one likes playing in the elements. I freaking loved it, man. Like, that was fun. I love to get muddy, like get all the snow, all the rain, everything. Just get your jersey dirty. Like, that was fun to see. I used to purposely go outside. I'm a psychopath now. Don't get me wrong. When I was like 5 years old, I used to go outside and just slide in the mud and wear a football uniform and just go inside and say, hey, look at me. I got a little dirty. You know, I'm a football player. I used to love that. Now, a lot of people, they probably don't love that. My brother hated that. When I would, I'd get up in the morning or whatever, it was, just a weekend or whatever, we would go outside, play football. If there was any sort of element, Blake, shout out to you, looking at you right there. He's saying, get out of here. I'm loving this. I would say, hey, let's get out there. It's raining, it's snowing, beautiful day for football. You could ask my parents. I say that every time, Mike. Beautiful day for football, regardless, windstorm, rain, snow, you name it. I mean, that's just how it is. I love it. It's great.
Yeah, so I can see your side as well, Jake. Like I said, I'm just recently starting to maybe shift gears here a little bit.
Yeah.
Just recently. But I do have another question based on the stadium. So there's been conversations about where it's going to be, downtown Buffalo or in Orchard Park. And you're closer to the area there. And I just don't know how they would work it in. When I did see some initial models for downtown Buffalo, man, I just don't know how that'll all fit there and how congested would that be. I feel like Orchard Park's a good place for it. What are your thoughts on the location? And same with the channel.
Yeah.
What are you guys thinking it should be?
I love it where it is, just obviously because of proximity. I mean, it's so close. And for tailgating purposes, I mean, it's perfect. It's, you're more out in the open. It's not so congested. I just feel like downtown, I mean, a lot of franchises do have their stadiums downtown. I mean, I would say probably majority of the league is, based in a city. So it's interesting for us. We're kind of in a unique spot where, I mean, right next to the stadium, there's houses, there's a neighborhood pretty much right behind the stadium. So it's very unique in that sense. And I think it's cool. It kind of adds to the environment and everything. And, obviously the tailgating aspect is super cool. So I'm all for keeping it an OP. If they decide to move it downtown, it'll be a little upsetting. I'm not going to say I feel like regardless of where it is, I mean, you're going to still have fans going to the games. I mean, that's just who we are as, Buffalonians. We're going to go to the game regardless. But I just feel like traffic wise and everything like that, it's just better in Orchard Park.
Yeah, I would have to say I agree there based on what I've seen.
Yeah.
It says you can't, Zach says you can't fill a dome in Buffalo for 349 days. So I get that.
That's a good point.
Absolutely right. You can use it for other things for sure. So, all right, well, let's move on to some Patriot notes. We've seen them twice now, so I'm not going to give you any player notes, but we're going to talk a little bit about their offense, where they stand currently, and also their defense. So on the offensive side of things, they're 16th in total yards per game at 347. They're 13th in rushing yards per game, 120. Believe it or not, they're right below the Bills, which is crazy. They're 17th in pass yards per game at 227, and they're 10th in points per game, 26.2. On the defensive side of the ball, this is where they get it done. First in points per game, 16.2. They're only giving up 16.2. Third in takeaways, 26, which is tied with the Bills. Third in yards per game, 307, sorry. And third in passing yards per game, 185. 24th in rushing yards per game, 122. And they're 14th in sacks on the year with 33. Now, where they're weak, obviously, on the rushing side of things is where we're weak on running the ball. So I don't know how much we can take advantage of it. I know you said do not run the ball. I have a slightly different take. I want to see Singletary continue to do what we did last week. I mean, he was in, I think, on 90% of the snaps, something crazy like that. And again, maybe not run it as much, and don't run it up the gut. I'm with you there, Jake. Please do not run it up. Godshaw will eat all day if you're going to go run it straight up the gut at him.
Absolutely.
A little off tackle. Just try some off tackle and mix that in just a little bit. Let's see what we can do this time. So basically, we have an above average offense, but they don't make a lot of mistakes. That's the thing about a Bill Belichick team. They don't make a lot of mistakes, above average. They don't shoot themselves in the foot. But I think there was a kink in the armor and Mac Jones in that Indy game. And I don't know if we're going to be able to replicate that, but he looked a little frazzled with all the blitz packages that were coming at him from the Colts. I mean, did you see that game at all, Jake? You have any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I watched a little bit of that. I caught the tail end of it actually. And yeah, I mean, it was no more evident. I mean, that's kind of a very cliche thing to say, just get after a rookie quarterback, put
Yeah.
pressure on him and he'll break pretty much. And that's exactly what happened. And Mac Jones, yeah, he has a little sneaky athleticism and whatnot, but any rookie quarterback that feels that much duress and, is given that much pressure when they're in the pocket like that, it's just going to be a nightmare scenario for them. And it kind of was. They did rally back a little bit. And I think Mac Jones, he has that competitive instinct in him where he's a gamer. He's going to still sling it regardless till the end of the game. But with that being said, I mean, he threw 2 interceptions and he's really been good. He's been
Yeah.
pretty tied up with that. I mean, he's done a very nice job of not turning the ball over. We finally saw him kind of make some mistakes last week. So that's where I think, and we'll get into this in a little bit. I mean, the thing is too, the last time we played New England, we really didn't have an opportunity to even pass rush this guy. He only threw 3 passes.
3 passes, yeah.
Yeah. So now it's a different scenario. We should expect a lot more than 3 passes. It's definitely going to be double digits. So we should have an opportunity to put some pressure on this guy, which I think is going to be the key to victory for us.
Yeah, I have an early prediction, and I feel pretty good about this, is that Mac Jones will throw more than 3 passes this game.
Okay, I like that.
I love that. I feel good about that prediction.
Yes.
Take the over for sure. So they're a very good defense, and we're going to talk about some of those impact players here shortly. So let's jump into that. Let's jump into your key matchups for the game, Jake. You got Stefan Diggs versus J.C. Jackson. That was a big matchup in game 1. And then you got the Bills D-line versus Mac Jones. So let's talk about Diggs versus Jackson.
Yeah, I'm still not satisfied with the amount of targets that Stefan Diggs is getting. I don't care if he's covered. Throw the ball to him. He can win those contested battles. He showed that he could against J.C. Jackson. And actually, the last time we played New England, Mike, we talked about that play.
Yeah.
He was one-on-one at the end of the game.
Yep.
We could have had an opportunity there, but instead we go to Gabe Davis, which, unfortunately, it looked like he was throwing a Cole Beasley on that.
Yeah.
It was a bad throw. You got to attack him. Just attack him. Get physical at the line like that. I think Stefan Diggs wins that battle 9 times out of 10. J.C. Jackson, good corner. Very, very good corner. Pro Bowl corner, actually, finally. Thank God they gave him some respect. He's got, 8 interceptions this year, or 7 interceptions this year. He's having a hell of a year. But I think Stefan Diggs wins that battle. I mean, majority of the time he's winning that battle. So I think you have to attack, throw those back shoulders, get him, especially if it's man coverage too, which I don't know how often New England plays man. I think they're more of a zone team. But even underneath stuff too, I mean, get him on those slant routes, whatever you have to do, get Stefan Diggs the football. I think he's going to win that matchup. That's a key matchup for me. It's a key to key for us, winning offensively, because I think if we get Stefan involved early, it's going to be a really nice game for us. We saw what we did last year against New England. I think Stefan, the last game we played against New England, he had a monster day. It was 9 for $150 and 3 touchdowns, maybe it was something like that. It was insane. So you saw what he could do. I think we go back to that method and just target the hell out of him. Get double-digit targets. That's what we have to do for sure.
Okay. And then you got the Bills D-line versus Mac Jones. Talk to me about that.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, exactly that. We have to get pressure on Mac Jones. You saw what happens when he gets some pressure on him. He throws the ball, in spots that he shouldn't be throwing it. He makes some errant throws. He throws some interceptions. Yes, he can be sneakily athletic, but I think with us, we have the speed on the edge to take care of him. And I feel like if we can, we apply the pressure up the middle a little bit, we get him a little frazzled, we're going to create some turnovers, and it's going to be huge for us. So that's definitely a key for us. Starr actually looked pretty good last week. He's starting to get back to form, which is good for us. I think our interior D-line is playing better each week. Eddie Oliver's been playing phenomenal this entire year. And then, we got the outside guys who are very inconsistent, but I think if we get some pressure up the middle, those guys can kind of run free and maybe we get some more sacks. Obviously going to need it. We have a couple guys out, AJ Epinesa being one of them. It's unfortunate, but it's a next man up mentality. F.A. Obata's been playing fantastic. Love what I've seen out of him. Would love to see more of him. And I think you got to roll with the hot hand, Mike. I really do. This rotation thing is great. It keeps these guys fresh, But at the same time, you take a guy off the field when he's producing and putting up some numbers, it kind of keeps him, it doesn't let him stay hot. You take him out of the game, he gets a little cold, he goes back in, he doesn't necessarily produce as well as he was before. So, yeah, 100%, we got to get some pressure on Mac Jones.
Yeah, they've been watching the snap counts with Star, so hopefully I expect them to have a much bigger role
I
this
do too.
game because of their running attack. And I want to say shout out to Jerry Hughes. I meant to give him a game ball
Yeah.
last week when we had our post game show. I thought he had a really good game. I think he got a sack. I can't remember, but he was definitely making some plays, getting some good pressures. So shout out to Jerry Hughes. I know I've been critical of him this year, but I felt he had a good game last week.
I like it.
All right, let's move over to my key matchups, and this one scares the heck out of me. Spencer Brown versus Matt Judon. Whoever
Oh, boy.
Spencer Brown is going to match up against. Now, last week they put him over on the left side.
Yeah.
Do you think they make a change, Jake? And if they don't, they're gonna have to get him help. Judon is just gonna blow him up. There's no doubt about it in my mind. There's no way Spencer Brown in 1 week can make an adjustment to handle Matt Judon on the left side. So first of all, Spencer had his worst game, right? He was just absolutely
100%.
he was just
Yeah.
lost. Now this was his first time playing left tackle in a game. Now he is supposed to be our swing tackle, and that's what they drafted him for. But he was lost on that left side, and he was just getting beat so bad. Do you think they stay with him over on the left, or they move him to the right back where he seems to be a little more comfortable, or what do you
Yeah.
think's gonna happen there?
I think they do. It was definitely a welcome to the NFL moment for Spencer Brown last week. I just don't see who else you're going to play there, unfortunately. I mean, Tommy Doyle, they just don't seem to have faith in right now. I love Tommy Doyle, don't get me wrong. Pretty similar size to Spencer Brown, but he's even more raw than Spencer Brown is. So it's tough to justify anyone else at that spot. Daryl Williams, I don't think he's the guy there either. I think actually the right side of the line last week, I didn't think played terrible. I actually thought that they were better. Obviously Spencer Brown got pretty well exposed, so probably made them look a little bit better because he was the guy getting exposed. Um, but I think they're gonna play him there. They got to help out a little bit. Maybe it's you play Tommy Sweeney, you have the extra blocker on the edge there, and that's what you do. Then maybe do that all game. You run double tight end set, whatever it may be, but you got to help him out because it's not going to be an easy chore for sure. I mean, Matt Judon's a stud, all pro linebacker. I mean, he's going to get to the quarterback. You saw what he did the first time we played against them. Now, I mean, and he's just so damn good. I mean, he's
Yeah.
just, and that was with Deion Dawkins. So now you have Spencer Brown, who's an inexperienced left tackle, a little bit different. You're protecting the quarterback's blind side. So yeah, got to help him out. Definitely do. But I think he's going to be the guy playing there.
Yeah. So what about, last week, Sean talked about Cody Ford, his natural
Yep.
position. And if you move Spencer Brown back to the right tackle, you got Williams then as guard, and then you have just that one spot that's, again, up in the air you could try Cody Ford there. He actually recommended that last week.
Mhm.
I'll tell you what, he could not do any worse than what Spencer Brown. Nobody could do any worse than what we saw on the left side. Now that is Josh's blind spot, so it's super super scary. Like, who's going to play over there and protect him? And like you said, they're going to have to they're going to have to scheme for it. If it is Spencer Brown, whoever, no matter who it is, they're going to have to scheme for it, because I don't think we have any left tackle, even if it was Cody Ford, to try it. And again, you could try it. If it's not working, make a shift during the game. Come on, let's make a change. I don't know. I just that's a key matchup. If we can
It's
keep
scary.
if we can keep Josh from getting hit on his blind side, that to me will have a very successful game. And Jake, I know you want us to throw the ball left and right, but this is where my concern is. Like, if
Sure.
Josh doesn't have time, and they won the game last time because I think they actually won the turnover battle with us as well in the first game.
Mm-hmm.
And getting hit on the blind side, you're going to cough off the ball more times than not. So, concern
And
there.
Josh is still injured technically, if you think about it. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see. It'll be very interesting over there. And I don't want to ignore everyone over here on the channel here. We had some folks come in. Let's see here. Let's see. Zach saying you can't fill a dome. We talked about that one. Orchard Park is what Big L says. Tim says Orchard Park, no big time games are coming here. Big L, double reverse McKenzie. We did see a lot more McKenzie last game. I think we're going to see more of that, especially with Cole Beasley being out. I am excited about that for sure. And Big L saying Harrison Phillips has been playing awesome. He's getting better every game. So totally agree there. On the other key matchup for me, it's the Pats run game versus the Bills front seven. Obviously, this is where they beat us. They said, hey, we're going to run the ball and you're going to have to stop us. And I don't see them changing that. I mean, yes, there's no doubt to me that Mac Jones is going to have to throw the ball this game. But, I mean, we haven't been able to stop a very good running team, really. So
yeah, and I don't think the weather affects that either. I mean, the weather affects the passing game, but the run game, it is what it is. What you saw on the field, what they did to us, like that's not because of the wind. That's because they just out-physicaled us. They played better than us. So yeah, I agree.
So I think, I mean, Belichick's gonna probably run a similar thing. See how it's working for him now. You'd expect the Bills to be ready for it. And some of the things I wanted to talk to you about that is, yes, last time we didn't have Star. We didn't have Star when we played them. So that's gonna help for sure. I know he's a little dinged up, but I don't think we had AJ Klein as well, because we had talked about.
That's true. He was right before the game
we had
started.
talked about him coming in a little bit less Taron Johnson to kind of get away from that nickel defense. And we know AJ Klein's specialty is stuff in the run. So thoughts on that? I mean, I think they're gonna have to, maybe on first down, second down. I think they're gonna have to play Klein a little bit more this time and not have Taron Johnson out on every play. What's your thoughts on that?
Yeah, 100% agree with that. I mean, you need bigger bodies out there. That's just how New England is. They're a tough physical team. It's not the sexiest game of football that they play, but it's efficient and it works. And I'll tell you what, I think Bill Belichick, I mean, him and Josh McDaniels, they're almost inviting us to play this game of chess with them. They want to see, what we do, how we react to it. And then they throw something else into the mix. And it's like, well, where the hell did they come from? Where did that come from? Like, we're not expecting it almost, So that's just the type of game that they play. And that's how they've been so successful this year. They're definitely playing above their talent level. And I think a lot of that has to do with coaching. So it's going to be interesting. I do think AJ Klein has to be a bigger part of this game, especially if their run game gets going early like they did. I mean, they absolutely manhandled us last time. So can't get much worse than that. I think if AJ Klein's in there, he does a better job and, certainly helps the defense at least contain the Patriots run game a little bit better.
Yeah. Knowing Belichick, you're right. He'll come out and he'll throw the ball the first 10th place. He'll be like, look.
Oh my gosh. Yeah.
I could see him doing something crazy like that, but I don't see that happening. I think they're going to try to run just like every other good running team has done against us, and we're going to have to step up. And again, I think a key way we do that is with Star in there, of course, and then with some AJ Klein mixed in, because that's his specialty. So we seem to get things corrected towards the later part of that game against the Patriots, but early on they had their way. And we've gotta prevent the big run, the big play. We've given up 4 of those this year, and those are just backbreakers, man. Make the teams earn these scores. You can't give up a 55, 65, 76-yard touchdown play. It's backbreakers.
Yeah, I mean, you take away those big runs, and really, we held those running backs in check pretty well.
Yeah.
It's just that one big play, and that's really a momentum shifter, too.
Yep.
So,
yeah, we're working so hard. They're playing they're not playing prevent, but they're making us dink and dunk and earn those touchdowns, and then you give up a big touchdown like that. We haven't had. It's crazy to me. I mean, other than Singletary's 45-yard run against Miami early in the season, we've had nothing bigger than that as far as a touchdown.
Yeah.
That's just insane to me. I just don't get it at all. So pretty crazy. All right, Jake, let's get into your impact players to watch for both teams. This week you got, of course, your favorite Josh Allen. I think, and ever since we said he looks like you throw him out there all the time.
Oh, man.
You got Star Lutulele, and you got Matt Milano, of course. So let's talk about your Buffalo Bills impact players.
Yeah, obviously, I had to throw Josh on the list, especially after he got snubbed for the Pro Bowl. We were talking about it a lot earlier, Mike. Yeah, I mean, we saw what he did in this win game against New England. Now he has these neutral weather conditions where he should be able to throw the ball even better. So unleash the beast. I want them targeting Stefan Diggs 15, 20 times, whatever you have to do. Feed that man the ball. Gabe Davis, absolute stud, could play outside, could play inside. Let's see it happen. Let's just unleash the beast. Let's throw all over these guys. I know they have a really nice secondary, but I think we can do it. We showed what we can do in that game last time we played them. And it was like, this is unheard. Like, why are we even bothering throwing in these conditions? And we were moving the ball well on them. And I know, sometimes that has an effect with the weather, with the secondary, how they're playing and whatnot. But I think we win this matchup. I really do. And it's time. Let's have a day, Josh. I think it's time for him to just go off. So I feel good about this. I think Josh is going to be a huge impact player. Let him run around a little bit. He's probably going to have to run around a little bit. I hate to say it. With Spencer Brown on the left side, if Matt Judon's coming off the edge like that, it's going to be tough. He's going to have to move around a little bit, get out of the pocket, make some things happen, make some magic. Let him do his thing. Let Josh be Josh. That's all I got to say.
All right. And then Star and Matt.
Yep. Yeah. So I mentioned Star on there too. He's looking a little bit better. Obviously, his snap count still held in check a little bit. But he did get a sack last week, which is great to see. Love to see that. He was getting some pressure up the middle, and he's going to be huge this week, especially if the Patriots decide to run the football like they did the first time against us. So Star is going to be a huge piece for this. Was he? I think he was out. He was just coming.
No, Star was out that
right?
first game, yeah.
I was going to say, okay, so he was out the first game.
Yeah.
So we're getting two guys back that are going to be huge, him and A.J. Klein,
yep.
for the run game alone. I mean, I think that's going to help significantly. So definitely a key matchup, key player for this to look out for. So I'm excited to see what happens there. And then, you got Matt Milano, so he's played phenomenal. Also, potentially a Pro Bowl snub too. I know there's a lot of really good outside linebackers, and the thing is, if you're not really an edge rushing pass rusher, outside linebacker, you're not going to get the vote. Matt Milano's stats are solid. He's playing well. He's doing good. But his stats just aren't as good as those other guys. He doesn't have the sacks. He doesn't have the interceptions, et cetera, et cetera. So he just does his job. He'll continue to do his job. And tough matchup with the tight ends, too. You got Jonnu Smith and Hunter Henry. Hunter Henry scored 2 touchdowns last week. So going to be a tough task for him.
Yep. And then over on the Patriots side, you got Jakob Johnson, you got Matt Judon, and J.C. Jackson. You were excited about talking about Jakob Johnson there.
Mike, I was so excited about this. This is the first time I put a fullback as my impact player on a list.
Yeah.
But it was a great opportunity to do so. He put on an absolute clinic on how to block last time we played New England. I mean, they ran I formation, I feel like 90% of the time the last time we played New England. And it was just incredible. It was textbook almost how they ran these plays. They ran the same play over and over and over again. They would just flip sides each time.
Yeah.
And Jakob Johnson just seemed to find the right guy to block, where Damian Harris would go off his right cheek and just take it upfield. I mean, it was amazing. It was textbook to see. It was like watching Lorenzo Neal blocking for LaDainian Tomlinson back in the day. I freaking loved every second of it. I didn't love it, but I loved it at the same time. I anytime I can mention a fullback, it gets me excited. I love the fullback position. Me and my little baby daughter, she falls asleep watching Mike Allstott highlights, Mike. I mean, this is what it's all about. This is body on body, low man wins, hat on a hat football. It makes me excited. I know a lot of people hate it, but as like a traditionalist, a purist, it just brings such joy to my heart to see the fullback position thrive in offenses. So Jakob Johnson, huge underrated piece of that New England offense, and no one talks about him. No one gives him a lot of credit, but that guy, I mean, if it wasn't for Patrick Ricard, he would be the Pro Bowl fullback for the AFC. So absolutely one of my key players on that offense. The other two, we have Matt Judon, who we talked about a little bit, matching up against Spencer Brown. I don't have a whole lot of hope for that, unfortunately. I think Matt Judon is just so damn good. He's going to give him a lot of trouble out there. We have to bring Tommy Sweeney out there. We have to have a guy chip on him. Whatever it is, we need an extra blocker, because it's not going to be an easy thing to block him one-on-one. It never is.
Yeah.
So he's just so good, you know. And then you have J.C. Jackson, who I talked a little bit about with the Stefan Diggs, J.C. Jackson matchup. J.C. Jackson's had a phenomenal year. He has 7 interceptions. He's a ball hawk. He figures it out. He plays very well in zone. He actually, I mean, I haven't watched a whole lot of film on him this year, but from what I've seen, him and man coverage, I mean, he's glue. I mean, he is really good. I think Stefan Diggs is better, but JC, I mean, best corner on that team, hands down. He's been a huge piece to that defense, and excited to watch that matchup between those two. So that's where I'm at.
All right, yeah, I agree. Jakob Johnson, you sent me that link where the guy,
Yeah.
somebody had some video clips where they were just like you said, play after play, running the same game, just same play, just going either right or left, and it was just working.
And it's basic. It was nothing,
Yeah, no, it
nothing
wasn't.
fancy. Just hat on a hat
But
football,
like you
man on
said,
man.
it
Yeah.
was textbook. I'm sure that game is going to be used by a lot of other folks, maybe college,
Youth
maybe
football coaches.
right.
Yeah.
Just here's how you do it, right?
Yeah.
Here's how you
Right.
do it. So good stuff there. All right, let's get over to my impact players here. So on the Buffalo Bills, Gabe Davis. I'm a little upset. I had Gabe Davis I picked him up a couple weeks ago. He was on the fantasy waiver wires, and I did not get him in on time last week, and he goes off. So I still expect him to have a big game with Beasley out. Gabe Davis, I mean, when the guy's in there, he's a red zone target. I see him scoring at least once. And he's just, I don't know, he makes plays. He just makes plays when he's on the
He
field.
does.
We got
Yeah.
Rousseau and Obata. Now, Rousseau, I looked, snap count, he was about 46% of the snaps last week. Hughes was about 50, a little over 50%. Talked about this in our last pregame show. I'd like to see Rousseau get more reps than Hughes, just a little bit. And he's also, I believe, much better in the run stopping game. So that's why I want Rousseau out there a little bit more. And with Epinesa out, we could see that. We could definitely see that as well. So he might get more reps. I think they should give him more reps, not only for his ability to get to the quarterback, but to stop the run as well. F.A. Obata, let's roll. Let's go. I mean, we saw this guy fired up last week. Maybe it was because it was his former team. I don't know. But with with Epinesa out, I think we continue to roll the hot hand there. And let's see what he can bring. I mean, the guy was just lighting it up. And he didn't have a lot of
Great.
he didn't have a lot of snaps out there, but when he was out there, he made the most of them. So let's roll with that again. And then over on the other side, here's a big one, Kyle Duggar. So they did not have Kyle Duggar in that first matchup with us.
Right.
Right?
Yeah.
This guy's a beast, Jake. This guy scares
He is.
the heck out of me. He's a second-year guy. They drafted him last year in the second round. I think
Out of Lenore Rhine.
he was like I think the 35th. Yeah, small school, 35th overall,
D2.
something like that. The guy's 6'2", he's 220. He can play cornerback. He can step up, play linebacker. He can play in that front seven. Big time player for them, and he's had a great year. And we were lucky enough to not go against him. So he scares me. He's definitely going to change the game up a little bit for us. I mean, this guy can pretty much do it all. So worries me a ton. And then, of course, we already you mentioned them, the two tight ends, and they have good ones. Hunter Henry is a touchdown machine. He's got 9 touchdowns this year. You talked about it last week. He's got 2. Whether it was the Chargers last year or the Patriots, this guy is a red zone machine, right? He's a touchdown machine, and they're always looking for him when they get down to the red zone. So we're gonna have to figure that one out there. And Jonnu Smith, I mean, he was one of the guys who caught a pass, and it might have been the most athletic catch
Unreal
you
catch.
might have seen all year in that wind. I mean, I don't know how high that guy got off the ground, but made the catch. And this guy, he can play receiver. He's really a receiver and a tight end body. This guy can play receiver. They actually do a few of those. I think they even try to run some jet sweeps with this guy.
Yeah, I was gonna say it's almost like, and you hate to bring up this guy's name, but he's very similar to Aaron Hernandez and how they used him in the offense early in the 2010s. I mean, the guy, he can run the football. He's basically just a do-it-all guy. Not exactly Taysom Hill level, but I mean, he can run the football, he can catch the ball. You could pretty much line him up wherever. He's a really good H-back. And he's not a super tall tight end either. He's like 6'2", like 241-ish around there. Just athletic as hell, though. I mean, he's so damn good. He's fast as hell. Just a great signing. I think they got to use him more. I mean, I feel like they've just been holding out on this guy. It's like, you have a weapon here. He's been banged up a little bit. Don't get me wrong, but man, it's like you signed this guy to such a big deal. You think that you'd use him a little bit more, but very interesting for sure.
Yeah, they didn't. He hasn't had the greatest year. He's got 27 receptions for 274 yards and 1 touchdown. But
Yeah.
I said this last time we played them. This guy came over from Tennessee. I am still shocked that Tennessee let this guy go. He was drafted by Tennessee, just like Corey Davis, and they let both those guys go in the offseason. I think that was absolutely insane. And you're
Yeah.
right. The Patriots paid a lot of money for the tight ends here. Both Hunter Henry and Jonnu Smith put a lot of money into it. That's kind of, they like to play with those, the double tight ends, just like you mentioned with Gronk and Hernandez back in the day.
Right.
I think both these guys are going to be on the field quite often this game, especially if Bourne is out.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Especially.
Yeah. 100%. Yeah, it's interesting. And then you mentioned Kyle Duggar too, Mike.
Ugh.
Let's not overlook him either. I mean,
Yeah.
he was out last game. We really didn't have an opportunity to see what we can do, but this guy is unbelievable. He's an all-pro in the making. Kind of reminds me. I said he reminded me of Micah Hyde a little bit, a bigger Micah Hyde.
Yeah.
I have another name for you. I don't know if you know who this guy is even. Tony Parish. Shout out to Blake if you're still watching. Tony Parish, kind of a corner / safety combo, bigger guy. Ferocious hitter, 9 interception guy, ball hawk, all over the field type player. Kind of reminds me of that guy too. So
did he play for
I think he's got
Colts?
a bright future.
Who did he play for?
Who's that? Tony Parish?
Yeah.
He was the Bears and 49ers.
Oh, okay.
Back in the day. Yeah, it was early 2000s, late 90s. Really good player though. And I think that's another comparison for him. I really think he's going to be something special. Feel good about it. And don't forget Devin McCourty too, who was he's still producing. He's a great veteran player. He had a pick last week. That whole secondary is really solid. And then Adrian Phillips has had a really nice year too.
Yep.
So,
well, they're one of the top defenses. We had one, but when we played Carolina, we had the top 2 defenses, and now we got 2 of the best as well again this week.
Yeah.
But we have more star power on the offensive side of things. So I think this is going to be an interesting game. In the channel there, McKenzie double reverse to Breda. I think we're going to see a lot of McKenzie. Wow. I think we're going to see McKenzie. I don't know. I think they stick with the script from last week unless it doesn't work. I think you're going to see. I mean, Breda almost saw. Yeah, well, okay, on the return there. I was talking about.
Yeah.
I was talking about in the backfield there.
Sure.
So
yeah.
Breda was only on the field. I mean, I feel like 5 snaps. I mean, he was not on the field much at all. Mm-hmm. And then we got Harrison Phillips. Yep, agree. Obata for sure is what Big L says, and feed Gabe Davis. Now, in my fantasy matchups, it's kind of the first time I've ever been in this format. I don't know if you're in any leagues like this. Apparently, I had the best record, and I thought I had a bye week last week. I did not. The way they do it, and I was needing a bye week, but I still squeaked this week out. But the way they do it in this league is you play the top. There's 4 teams that make it, I guess. And I play the same team back to back, and then the highest combined score of those 2 games moves on to the championship. So I have a slight edge. They have Josh Allen, and they have Stefan Diggs. Oh my goodness. I mean, I don't mind if they beat me. I really don't. But I'm going to throw some Gabe Davis in for sure this week to kind of neutralize.
Gotta do it.
If
counteract it.
Yeah, if Josh goes off for 3 or 4 touchdowns, hopefully.
You almost just say Jake Allen there, Mike?
I did almost say Jake Allen. If Josh Allen goes off for 3 or 4, hopefully 2 of those are to Gabe, and I neutralize that a little bit.
That'd be great.
Let's see. Zach says McCourtney is old and washed up. I bet El Padre could beat him on slant and go.
Wow. That's an incredible statement. I absolutely love that. Maybe. I don't know. Definitely not old and washed up. Have you watched him play this year, Zach? Freaking incredible year he's having. I think he's got 4 or 5 interceptions this year. So, John Brown middle screen will win the Super Bowl this year. Couldn't agree more. Chan was before his time. He's talking about Chan Gailey. I love that. My dad says, you bet. That's great. No, something to be said about the middle screen game. I mean, if you're thinking about running the football up the middle, don't. Maybe run the middle screen instead. That's my alternative to that. I do think the tight end slip screen is very underrated as a play, especially with Josh being as mobile as he is, because he kind of rolls out. And then sometimes you have that tight end who's kind of just sitting back there, delaying a little bit. And he people lose track of that guy. And then all of a sudden Josh just kind of dumps it off to him and Dawson will take it up the field. So I think there's definitely a lot of value with that. Even the slip screen plays where you have a receiver kind of come in a little bit, you throw it to him. Isaiah McKenzie's good at that. You have a guy block in the middle there. I think he could be very dangerous with that. So I would like to see some of those go to Isaiah McKenzie, Dawson Knox. You have the tight end involved with that too. I think all that would be great for sure.
Yeah, Dawson Knox had a good game for us last week, but when we
Yeah.
played the Patriots, he had a few drops in that game, which were pretty critical. So he's got something to make up there. I think we didn't talk about him much, but obviously he's a big part of our offense this year. But hopefully he can hold on to the ball. I don't know what it is. There's games where he catches everything, and there's games he just seems to judge it wrong.
He makes these incredible catches. Yeah, it's weird.
It's been a little strange. Yeah. So all right, Jake, talk to me. Talk to me how the game flow is going to go in this game from both teams, and then give me your score.
All right, man. So I've kind of been going back and forth on this, Mike. It's really hard to predict exactly what's going to happen, but I do think we're going to come out attacking. We're going to fire. We're going to really get after a little bit, throw a lot of passes to begin with, and we're going to see what Josh can do against this defense. Now, my hope is that we don't abandon it too early, because it seems like whenever we have this big play and we have some momentum going, we run a play where it's like a run up the middle or something stupid to just kill that momentum. And then we settle for a field goal. And I'll tell you this, field goals are not going to win you a game. Not this week. It's not going to happen. I love Tyler Bass to death. Don't get me wrong, but it's just not the game for that. Do not settle for field goals. We did that the last time we played New England. It didn't work out. Let's be aggressive. Let's keep attacking. It's time. Let's put our big boy pants on. We should be winning the AFC East as it is right now. And we're right now battling for a spot to not only win the AFC East, but also to secure a playoff spot, which is not guaranteed. So I think the Bills are going to come out firing. I feel good about it. My prediction, Mike, conservative, but I think realistic, 28-24 Bills.
All right, so talk to me about the game script for the Patriots. What do you think they're going to come out doing?
Yeah. I think they're going to kind of do a little bit of what they did the last time they played us. I think they know that they can out-physical us, especially with us being, a little injured on the D-line. I think there's a lot to be said about that. However, our interior, I think has been playing pretty well. Harrison Phillips, my dad mentioned him in the chat. I think he's played fantastic lately. Him, Eddie Oliver, and Starr. It's going to be huge that we have Starr back. I think they're going to try to run the football on us a little bit. I know Damian Harris is a little banged up, but I think that's going to be the initial game plan, and then they're just going to kind of see what the defense – they're going to basically take what the defense gives them. They're going to chip away with the short passes. The tight ends are going to be very involved, and, I think they're going to score some points. It's going to be frustrating to defend that team because New England doesn't really have an identity, if that makes sense. I feel like they're just not – they're a team that right now is overplaying the expectations that they had coming into the year. So right now, it's kind of like, 1 week they might just run the football down your throats. The next, they can just throw it. Or just they're middle of the pack and they just play a solid offensive game. They do enough and their defense handles the rest. So you just don't really know what you're going to get with them. But I do think this week it's going to be heavily favored towards the tight ends in the running game. And I think they're going to keep it close. They're going to play us tough. They're not going to give in too easily. I think we're going to get some pressure on Mac Jones, and ultimately it might be the game changer for us. But I feel good about us winning. And like I said, 28-24 is my prediction. I'll put it in the chat right now.
Okay. So I agree with you. I think it's going to be they're going to come out running. Again, Bill Belichick can throw a wrench in things and say, screw that. I'm going to come out and throw the ball 10 times to start the game. But I think they're going to try the run game first. Why not? We haven't been able to stop it. Keep seeing see if we've made adjustments. We've been beat for big plays by a few teams now that have had good running backs. I think I would love to see Taron Johnson I love Taron Johnson, but I want to see a little more AJ Klein in there. I want to see them get away from the nickel a little bit. I do agree with you. A lot of it's going to revolve around whether or not Bourne plays. If Bourne does not play, big edge to us there, helps Dane Jackson a bit, and then it's really going to be about shutting down those tight ends, and that's not that's no small ask right there. These two tight ends paid a lot of money. They're very good. Hunter Henry has been super successful over with the Chargers for many years with Phil Rivers, and John O. Smith is I think he's, believe it or not, the guy's in his 4th or 5th year, something like that, 6th year. He's been around, and like we've already talked about him. So I see them. You're right. They're above average. There's nothing special on offense. They rank near the middle of the pack. We talked about that early on in the show. But they don't shoot themselves in the foot. They don't make a lot of mistakes. They're a turnover team, just like we are. I mentioned that as well. So again, I think who can get those turnovers is going to play a big role in it. I do think, we're going to throw the ball a lot more, obviously, than we did in the first game. I would like to see little Singletary off tackle a little bit here and there. Let's see if that continues to roll. I think they found something in that Tampa game in the second half. And I did see that continue on last week. Let's see if it continues on a little bit more. We'll see. But for me, the score, again, this is going to be a dogfight. And I am going to say, what was your prediction?
I said 28-24 Bills.
Okay. I'm going to say 24-21 Bills.
All right. 21. I like that, Mike. Yeah.
It could come down to a last second field goal. It could be tied up 21-21. Josh gets the ball, finally drives down, and gets our team a win there at the end. So 24-21 is what I'm saying. I think it's going to be close no matter who wins. I don't think there's no blowouts going to be happening on Sunday at all. Let's see. Jake, yours out there. Let me put mine out there real quick. So close.
We've been good with these. We've been good with these close predictions. I feel like things happen a little bit better for us when we predict closer games. Whenever we predict these blowouts, we always end up just getting smoked, or we lose like a stupid close game, So I feel good about this, Mike.
Zach's going big. I don't know what he's converting the score to. He's converting it, multiplying it.
Zach's been drinking a little bit. I'll be honest. I freaking love it. Absolutely fired up. I hope they're still going at it a little bit. Like I said, I just left their house, having a great time out there. Shout out to my sister-in-law, Randall, too. Promised her I'd give her a shout out. The last time I gave her a shout out, Mike, you would have thought she was dead. I'm going to give a little story here, a little sidebar. Hope you don't mind.
No, not at all.
We were talking about this before I left. Last time I gave her a shout out, we were in the Dominican Republic at an all-inclusive resort. And there was this dance club. It was called Route 66 Dance Club. And of course, usually the girls go to bed a little bit early. They're like, we're done with this. 10 o'clock rolls around. We're done. So myself and my brother-in-law, we're always like, oh, yeah, we'll stay out for one more. Then 4 a.m. rolls around, and then we're walking back to our place. That's usually what happens. And this is, no different. So, of course, we're out. Now, our father-in-law is also out with us. He was having a great time, phenomenal time. It was all the guys. Yeah. And there's this DJ up in this booth. He's got this he's sitting in this car. It's like a half car. He can enter in. He's in this booth, and like he's shielded like he's actually in a vehicle, like driving pretty much. It's hilarious. And I went up there and I said, hey, can I have the microphone? He said, of course. I think he was just so annoyed with me. He just handed me the microphone because I kept requesting songs and stuff. And I think he appreciated it. But at a certain point, he's like, all right, buddy, enough's enough. Like, I'm the DJ here, but he didn't really speak much English either. So that was probably just a total misunderstanding on both parties. So anyways, I give a shout out to her and I just say, just a shout out to my sister-in-law, Randall Poffler. I know you can't be here right now. I made it sound like she was dead. And, we'll miss her forever. Everyone's cheering and stuff, and it's great. So I promise I give her a shout out on the show. I don't know if they're watching. They said they put it on the big screen TV. Maybe we're on the big screen, Mike. I hope we are.
Let's go.
If not, hey, it's great. But
what's her name? Randall?
Anyways,
Randall, you said?
Her name's Randall. Yeah, Randall is her name. Yeah, she's my sister-in-law.
Randall. Shout out to Randall.
So I promise I give them a shout out, and I just did there. So like I said, I don't know if we're on the big screen or not, but
you're always full of shout outs. Do we got anyone else that you forgot to give a shout out to? It's Christmas time. Come on, man.
Yeah. There's I mentioned last week, Uncle Donnie, my wife's uncle. He watches all the time. Her cousin Nicole watches all the time. Appreciate the hell out of you guys, Nicole. We just became friends on Facebook. No big deal. Freaking love that. Incredible. 'Tis the season. And I don't know. That's here's Zach.
He's like, my apologies. You'll always see me. I always have allergies, nose is running. I apologize. I am a paper towel guy. I pull whatever's the closest to this room. Paper towel, man. Paper towel. Forget that soft stuff. No. Yeah. We go big.
Tim says, okay, stick to sports. Yeah, that's fair, Tim. I'm getting a little off track right now. But anyways, I had to give my shout outs. It's only the right thing to do. So
yeah. All right.
You
Well,
know,
big game. We appreciate everybody. I think we're gonna try to do a post game Monday. We're gonna have
yeah,
to check. I think that's good for me because
that works for me.
I'm on vacation as of now and through the end of the year. Yes, I'm excited about that.
Nice,
So let me
nice.
know if Monday works. If Monday works, we'll be able to have some film clips, just like we did for one of our post game shows before. It gives us enough time after the game to get some of those in there, and we'll be taking a look at a few of those. So let's hope for a big win. I put on my list to Santa this year a Super Bowl. And I also asked that we beat the Patriots at least one of 2 times. So here we go. Come on, Santa. I've been pretty good. You know, bring me that victory.
Bring us a Super Bowl.
Bring me the victory first. 1-0 every week. Everyone in the channel, I want to wish a happy holidays to all of you. Thank you so much.
Nick Davis, shout out to Nick Davis.
Nick
Welcome
Davis?
to the channel, man. I don't know who you are, but
All right.
get on the bandwagon,
this
baby.
is
It's Dana. Oh, okay. So that's the other guy I gave a shout out to, Ryan Dana, absolute stud. Love you to death, man. Glad you could join us tonight.
All right.
Yeah, phenomenal stuff.
How do you know Dana?
So everyone says I'm a friend stealer, Mike. You know, I just like to make friends wherever I go. He's actually my brother-in-law's good friend. You know, they grew up together and everything. And I just sort of intermix with that whole group, which is great. I absolutely love it. But yeah, so glad you're watching. He did see one of our other shows too. He did tell me. So
all right, good deal. Good
people
stuff.
are watching, Mike. People are watching.
I love it. I love it. A lot of them, your family. I love it. And again, thank you all for participating. Again, put that prediction out there. We've given away a $50 gift card twice this year. You got to just hit this one. You're gonna have to hit on the head. But we were close. There was a couple people very close the last game, and we gave away a card.
It was
anyway.
I mean, it was like 3 of you guys. You know, Sean was one of them too. So you know, Sean, if you're still out there watching.
So Big Al and Mama Podger, appreciate you so much. Merry Christmas, and I'll talk to you guys before New Year's and the rest of the channel as well. Zach was out there having some fun.
Zach's having a blast.
He's having a blast. So we need whatever he has going on. I want to be part of that right now.
Cheers. Actually, left hand. Cheers.
So that's it for me. Jake, did we forget anything? I think we're good, right?
I think we're good, Mike. Big win on Sunday for us, and I feel good about it. Like I said, I think we're going to attack. We're going to be aggressive. We're not getting out coached this time. Not letting that happen.
Yeah, this is going to be a tough one for me. I might have to watch the replay, which is tough for me because I got some family stuff. We got church going on Sunday. So
you were saying that, yeah.
It's going to be difficult to catch the game live. I do have it on my phone. I do have the app on my phone. We'll see. But I'll watch it no matter what. But I'll be checking in on the score constantly.
You'll be that guy in church just having your phone up or whatever.
Yeah. Thanks a lot. Thanks a lot, Big L. Take care, everybody. We'll talk soon, okay?
All right, guys. Go Bills.
Go Bills.